down, spirit ain't for sale. I felt it in my eyes, spirit burning through the lies. Truth tried to rise, but y'all boxed it up and monetized, taking gold from the poor just to sell them what's free. Tell me how you got rich off divine energy. You made a brand off the book, then forgot how to read it. Preaching love and light, but your wallet's the one that needed. Now you got tears and paywalls for ascension gates, but the meek already own what you try to inflate. Sit the fuck down, spirit ain't for sale. You can't catch the wind, you can't charge the veil. You're not the source, just a vessel with the claim. So humble up, baby, sit the fuck down. Wisdom ain't a hustle, gnosis ain't a grind. If you really saw a God, you give more than you find. You turn grace into courses, blessings into fees. Turn temples to boutiques and peace into a tease. We got folks crying for light in the night, and you raise your prices like it's paper sight. But I got news, the kingdom's still within. Angel 995599959 can't buy where I've been, y'all better stop sitting around with comments before you find out. Lightning speed, this is for the girl fasting with fire in her chest, who hears the spirit while the world's still at rest. This is for the boy by the river with open hands, who never once charged to understand. Sit the fuck down, spirit ain't for rent. You can't hoard what was heaven sent. You're blocking flow with that fake ass crown. Truth don't need them gates, sit the fuck down. May the real ones rise, unbought, unbound. May the sacred be shared, not sold by the pound. The spirit is here, in this moment right now, and she don't need your brand to wear her crown.
And the world is not the same, and you're the one to blame. Now say, I'm not going back. I'm not going back to my dark places. I'm not going back. I'm not going back to my dark places. Maria's people, greetings. Remember, recover, and return to our home on Venus and the beautiful place that it is, the beautiful feeling that resonates from our home, our true home. Yes, this dark place is not our home. It is the prison of the dark magicians of World War I and World War II who ended the world. And big love and respect to Mother Maria and our brother Lou and our lovely, most beautiful 20-year-old looking grandma, Queen Donna Diana Kali Parvati. We so love you, Donna. Matter of fact, please, Donna, come and help me this night, because I am picking up the story with literally my dark places, which were a lot darker for Kristen. Let's make that clear off the bat. And the kind of person this cult leader is the kind of person the president of the United States is. He's the cult leader of the clown church, the church of evil clowns. And on the Masons laugh. I mean, the story of America is unbelievable. That, Manly Pedophile Hall has a book, The Secret Destiny of America, which is absolutely exactly what they did to the Bible. They went back in history because they're the only ones with the original copies and the original libraries and everything else. So if you trust them, your head is so far up your ass. How did you stumble upon this light in the wilderness? Who is Maria? Because I say that because she literally met Miguel Serrano in the wilderness, not far from her home in Germany. In the 1970s and the 1980s, she was meeting with Miguel Serrano and giving him the teachings for the 3 books, The Golden Thread, Ultimate Avatar, and Manu, the man to come. Because after Hitler left, he left the message, you are to follow the man to come. And that man to come wasn't exactly what they wanted, knew of, expected, anything, because the world was soon to end after this message. And in the first time reality, of course, no one knew exactly what was going to happen. But it's kind of like a, bloodthirsty maniac running around with a knife in a crowd of people swinging it around. You can probably assume he's going to hurt someone. That's oddly the mentality of the people who have been running the world since World War II. America, CIA, created, MI6, Britain, America created Israel, Mossad, ruled by deception. All of this is right in your face. The actual God of Pisces, we'll call Jesus, the actual Jesus fulfilled everything in the Bible in his time like he said he would. And of course he wasn't God, because nothing's God. This is the main crux on which they stand. This is the main illusion, deception on which they stand, is to change one of the gods, Yahweh, into God, which everyone should be like, what are you talking about? Something beyond us all that can't be understood. Why are you saying that it can be understood? And this book, as a representation of that, is in, for anyone to believe that, brings the strongest magical curse on your life that you may not wake up from it. You may die, and it may and of course, everything in your life continues after you die. Mentally, and just, and physically, because you're still here. Say someone walked in your house and shot you in the head right now. You'd be sitting in your astral body exactly where you were shot. And you would stand up and go, oh my God, I must be dreaming. Because look, I'm dead, but I'm still alive. And then, I don't like really saying it. It's not a good vibration. You better be prepared is the message. No angels are coming. The only Jesus that's coming is the make-up-faced clown from that show called the Antichrist Bible Left Behind TV miniseries that people put their entire lives, their children's lives, everything. We got to figure it out. We're evil. Jesus forgives us. And you know what? We should analyze that first part of it. Why are you agreeing you're a sinner? This is the intelligence gathering of the Christian church. Oh, everyone's a sinner. Okay. Well, what have you been doing that makes you a sinner? Come to confessional. Because I get off on listening to you talk about how you're evil when I know you're not, because the actual church is the creator of the vibration of evil clown Christianity. You fucking GMO eating clowns that go to church and think that America's good. Fuck you. And you clowns that think that Trump, oh man. Okay, I'm going to stop. And conclude today's monologue with America died 4/20/2024. At any moment, I could be taken away or murdered, or we are under the dictatorship of the Ronald McDonald Clown administration. That Bible in one hand and a gun in the other, ready to execute the Muslims. And all the woke. Oh my God. And I'm talking about the woke right? The woke right. The Trump woke right who calls everyone anti-Semitic. I told someone I work with, you hate the woke, right? And why do you hate the woke? And he just looked at me like a dumb sheep. And I said, because you said you hate the woke because they call everyone a racist. And so what are you calling all these college kids? Are you not smart enough to know that Semitic people is a race and Judaism is a religion? Are you that fucking... That's why you give 40% of everything you make to a fucking clown, murdering, child abusing clown, and don't complain about it. You don't... At least you could go down with some respect and dignity. But America has none of that. America just wants the name brands and the fancy shit. And they just want the security of, in my mind, we're the best. Because life is a UFC fight. And the person with the most money is the champion, right? Andrew Tate. Let me tell you, Maria cannot stand people like that. That's her top level of, I hate you. Clown. A clown who would put on a dress and dance for the clown face for money. Anything for money, right, Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate, you suck their cocks. You're not pro-Palestinian. You're fake. Everything you are is fake. You're just fake. You're just a fake accent. Defend Christianity because you're fake. You're fake. You're the biggest fag that's out there. And no disrespect to gay men. And much love to you. But I'm sure any gay men listening would agree with me. That motherfucker's so overcompensating. Just like the rest of you clowns who are like that, who are like him. And don't care about the truth and don't care about people who only care about the soundbite. You're just actors in your own movie, right? Your life. But you're a bad actor and it's a bad movie and it's just all reflected in the boring world that we live in. It's reflecting off the young and vibrant majority that clearly if you're 15 to, and older, go to the Palestinian, pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel protest and find you a wife or find you a husband, find you a boyfriend, find you a girlfriend. Because that's where you're going to find someone who truly is looking past the clown show, right? And and to those people, remember, don't try to tell other people how to live. Live by example. Don't turn around and be Trump, because we'll denounce you just as fast. We're pro-Palestinian, just like we're pro-Tibetan. We're pro-Irish. The fucking British need to get out of Northern Ireland. Right? I'm still Irish. Think I forgot? You think when I do my rituals that my blood memory isn't saying that, hey, I was watching, just real quickly, I was watching I think his name is Joey the Gypsy on YouTube. And he was saying something big is missing from history. He's like, all my thinking and all my stuff, trying to figure out, he's like, they've removed something huge from history. He's like, I'm trying to figure it out. And he is so right. They removed the end of the world and that we're in a simulation right now because the very clown show that you see right now are the vibrational descendants and clones and little bacteria that is spawned out of the Crowley disgusting infection that he is. These are the people who did this. And they're the reason why we're in this simulation. And on and on. Okay, to the story. And we're going to see a pattern here with the cult leader and the police. And I'll just tell the story. Me and the keyboard player, my good friend in the band, his sister, right, Kristen, raped, abused, had a ritual, a satanic ritual done on her. And just so you know, we don't believe in the Bible God or Satan. This is like a movie that they get people to believe is real and create their own reality. So for you even to say that you're fighting Satanism and like to give any historical credibility to it means you're deceived. And to think that your intuition is telling you, oh, there's some secret truth in the Bible that, God is going to reveal to me, makes you fucking retarded. And you're wasting your time when you could actually study useful things. We're recommending go inside because the kingdom is inside of you. Right? And so, in the story, as I left off, we could not understand how. And, okay, we got from her, they were on their way to the church. At least they were saying. And, okay, this girl that was acting this way, when the police got a hold of her at a gas station, I believe they were getting gas, and she got out of the car and ran somewhere and started screaming her. And he has about 10 warrants, and they take her to jail, as I said. So we go. I got as far as she got in the car. And I want to emphasize here that because me and her brother believed in this shit, it was just completely fueling it. Because our thoughts were like, is this Kristen or is this the demon? Completely created the atmosphere for the black magician. And really, I could now look back and see how they thought it was funny. Like, damn, all these dudes have to say is, this is bullshit. There is no God like that. Jesus didn't die for our sins. This is whole nonsense. And bring her down off the drugs they were giving her and teach her to drive away people who are trying to put thoughts in her head. It's just that simple. But I want to very much emphasize, no one understands the power of a truly powerful person using magic over one other person, controlling their mind. Like you, the listener, don't really know that reality unless you've experienced it. And that first night when I went home, I didn't sleep because as soon as I walked in my house and was alone, I could hear the thing, the quote demon, the black magician's voice in my head saying, there's no time and space. I'm still with you. I'm going to kill you. And that was its main thing, was, now it had changed to, I'm leaving when I kill Kristen. When I'm done, I'm taking Kristen with me. And that's why you couldn't, it encouraged you to play along with that reality because it empowered it, but it also thought it was funny, right? And like it would tell the truth about the cult leader raping Kristen, and then it would say to me, and this would be to draw us back in to the polarity of demons and Jesus and Holy Spirit and all this shit. She'd be telling a story about how Kristen is a victim and how Glenn, the cult leader's wife, was a victim. And then she would say to me, and before I kill Kristen, I want to make sure that I kill you, Joe, that I take you with me, and possibly maybe your children. And my wife was pregnant with my son. And by the time we got her to the church, she was just like, oh, bring that pregnant woman over here. Let me kill that baby. I mean, it was just a horror movie. And I don't want to, glorify, or it's not even interesting. It actually got boring after a while, the whole show. But I want to bring you there and show you how deep it was. So we got her into church, as I said, and she was really fucking with us with the Bible. And I honestly believe there was one other person in the room when this happened. This was after she was like laying in the bed with pillows, sitting up just like The Exorcist. She's sitting in bed, but sitting up, and her hair is just all crazy because, she has dreads, and, they probably she hasn't showered in days, and who knows what happened to her in the police station. I mean, that's hell itself, That's in the hands of evil. But anyway, I just want to testify to like how she was growing more powerful. And the real war, I want to emphasize, was psychological. Like I could hear its voice, but it was in a sort of weird Christian sound. Like it literally, in my head, sounded like a demonic Christian that would slip every once in a while and really sound like manly. And this was the day after, right? The next day, right? We pick her up after that whole first night. We have to pick her up from the police. It's like he said, it's just getting worse, Joe. And no lie, she just is sitting there and looks horrible. She looks like someone beat her up, like she hasn't slept in a week, like she's been drugged, and she just looks so terrible. And me and another brother are sitting there while other people come in and try to help her, like pray for her or read a scripture to her. I mean, people really wanted to help, truly. There was several very good-hearted people around. But that never helps, really, when the facts are wrong. You have to follow your mind before you follow your heart. Do you hear me? You have to follow the facts, follow your mind, follow reason before you follow your heart. And I was sitting at the end of the bed, and Brother Matt was sitting at the top of the bed, and he's reading like a psalm to her or something. And she like kind of slides down the bed and slides her foot like right on my private parts. and like I kind of jumped. She looked at me, and she said out loud, like, you didn't like that? You don't like me? And I think I had gone like a few hours, and I went, I rebuke you, you demon, or something stupid. And she pushed the Bible out of his hand and sat up in the middle of the bed like she was meditating. Then she like opened her eyes all crazy and looked over at a picture that was sitting on the shelf. Swear I testify before you. These things are possible through you could maybe do this, but this really happened. She started like staring at this picture as she was sitting cross-legged with her hands out, like straight out like Jesus. And she's staring at this picture. And I could literally feel her mind like telling me to look at the picture. And I looked at the picture and I had to like rub my eyes to literally, because I was like, am I seeing this? The picture started shaking, back and forth, like, and it just flew across the room like inches from my head and just shattered against the wall. And she just bust out laughing like, and she said, "You rebuke me, I rebuke you." She said to me, "The more you keep saying Jesus, the stronger I get." And I left. I left. I went home. I forced myself to eat. I forced myself to eat one last meal. And then I decided to fast because, that was our thing. I had been fasting every Sabbath for a year. And me and my brother, Matt, we decided, okay, we're going to fast until this is resolved, until this leaves her and Kristen is free. And so me and Matt went on a little tour of the best people we knew. The best-hearted people that we grew up with, that we knew. We went to see the Scotty dog. And we asked him, like, what do you think's going on? What do you? And I think he did come down there with us even. You can just imagine what I'm going to say. When I returned, the cult leader was there. And we're like, and I was still a Rasta at this time. So I didn't, I was, pretty sure that this was all his doing, but I didn't have exact facts. And the scary thing was when he would come around Kristen, she would sometimes say he was evil, other times like cuddle up to him and be like, I am his wife. It was truly like split personality. I don't want to say demonic possession because it was more like a game that somebody was able to play through her receiver transmitter mind with us. And basically, I could not really, even though she kept calling for me, I went home and like someone called my house and said, man, Kristen keeps saying that only you can help her. So I went back, me and Matt went back that night, and one of the craziest nights ever. The cult leader actually brought her out of her bed into the living room and was like doing a fake Rastafarian exorcism on her. And there was actually neighbors connected. It was like a duplex, and it was getting late, like midnight, and she was in the middle like she was the night before, all powerful, all comedian, and threatening to kill kids. There was our sister had her little baby there, and she kept saying that she was going to kill the baby, and the whole thing was just a terrible, horrible sight. And when I went home that night, I was just taunted by the thing in her the whole night. And I decided, like, okay, this was like hitting, like, first night of fasting. So the next day I was like more clear-minded. I was like, okay, I got to stay away from her and fast for like a whole day. Just stay away from her. We went out to the farm, and this is no lie, I've never really ever seen a vision like I seen this one. I was talking to my friend, telling, me and brother Matt, we were on like a tour of good people and asking people to pray for her. We were just desperate. And I had also called Virgil, the first real Rastafarian, and he actually came down there when I wasn't there. And the cult leader guy was there, and she acted, or it acted like it was sleeping the whole time Virgil was there, or the cult leader gave her drugs to make her sleep because he knew that he was coming there. I remember saying, oh, did he know that Virgil was coming? They were like, yeah, he called and said he would be there in like a couple hours. And for real, the person that told me that said, yeah, I think he gave Kristen like sleeping pills so that she'd be sleeping when Virgil got here. I was like, wow, this is fucking crazy. And the vision, I was sitting there talking to my friend about this, and right to the side of him, it was like a screen, like a flat screen just appeared, like energy in the air beside him, and it was Kristen's mom and dad, and they were both looked very pissed. And I felt like, man, dude, these people can't blame me. There's no way, because my first thought was, are you mad at me? Like, I'm the one trying to fucking help her. And so me and Matt got together and we're like, man, we're supposed to fast one more day. And like they were calling, like, Kristen really wants to talk to you, Kristen. And so me and Matt called each other. This was the third day of our fast, and we hadn't seen her for 2 whole days. We're getting all these stories about, she's worse than ever and blah, blah, blah. And this is no lie. So me and Matt get together with our big water jugs in the park, and we're like, man, let's sit down and pray to Jah together. And we both got the same thing. We're like, dude, no matter what he says, we're taking Kristen out of that church and we're taking her to my house. And we're going to figure this out, and we're going to ban him from being around her. And this was like the official break with the cult leader. Like, me and Matt had decided, and there's still like 15, 20 people that were following him that didn't know anything about anything, thought all was good. And Joe was like his best follower, you know. The band was like the church band. None of that was true. But he wanted people to believe that so that it gave him some credibility. When the truth was, all his friends from the past were like, yeah, we don't like that dude because we think he's molesting his daughter. This is what we started hearing after we broke free. So me and Matt are like, all right, plan is on. No matter what he says, we're just getting a suitcase. I had like a suitcase. We're gonna put her stuff in it, and she's moving in with me. At least until she's better. And we arrive at the church. And the first thing we look for is Glenn, the cult leader's car. And we're like, his car's not here. Awesome. We're like, he's not even here. We walk in, and the first thing we see is the cult leader's daughter. And she says, my dad just left with Kristen. He's taking her to the hospital. And it was like someone shot us with a fucking high-powered rifle. I mean, I remember just laying on the fucking couch of the church and saying, like, I guess we might as well eat now. Fuck. And we felt great before coming there. We're like the third day of the fast. I was like, I don't need food. We were drinking some kind of tea, herbal tea, and feeling just great. And just, it was like, we lost. We were defeated. I literally said to her, when exactly did they leave? And she was like 5 or 10 minutes ago. I was like, no. And let's fast forward. I was going to go see her in the hospital, but I was, obviously her family didn't want anyone associated with it, and I didn't expect them to believe that I was actually this dude's enemy for quite a while, secretly, Fuck, he poisoned me, almost killed me. I'm still sick. I'm still sick to this day. Whatever he did to me, I don't know. I've tried my whole life to be healthy. And believe me, the thing in Kristen was saying the craziest curses, like, over me forever, and things like that. But let's fast forward to the night she got out of the mental hospital. And I told her brother, if she can, if there's any way, could I meet with her? And this is what she told me. She said, the whole time I was in the hospital, all I wanted to do was try to get you this information. She's like, this is what I remember the most. She's like, this is before he started drugging me. She said, it's like he had to tell me this before he called these spirits into me. And she said, believe me, he knew what he was doing. She said he was doing all kinds of shit with herbs and wine. And she said he literally drugged me and tied me to a tree next to his wife's grave. And his wife's grave was dug, and she was buried by him on some piece of property he owned. No lie. This is all the mind of a black magician psycho. I mean, the motherfucker is psycho. But she said, Joe, he said, for this whole thing to work, this is for real what he told her. This is the bringing together of God and Satan. He said, Joe is Satan and you're God. To Kristen, you're Jesus. Like you said, you're the lamb to be sacrificed. And I'm your Father. I'm Father God. You're Jesus. And Joe is Satan. She said, I was like thinking, you're fucking nuts. You are a crazy fucking person. And she said, but I was scared because I was alone in that trailer with just him. And she said he had already given me, and how this all started was she was away at college and had gotten pregnant by her boyfriend and had a miscarriage and was having problems, health problems, from it. And so she went to him. This is exactly how it started. This is the premise, the starting point. She went to the head of the church, and it's kind of funny because I was saying I was staying away, and I might have been there if he wasn't such a fucking jerk. But she went to the head of the church, the elder, the Rastafarian elder, and she said, I had a miscarriage, and I think it's, like in my blood, and like it's fucking me up. Do you know any roots or herbs? Like, what should I do? Do you know any natural medicine that can help, detoxify me from this? And he took her out of St. Louis City, like an hour and a half, 2 hours away, to this trailer in the woods. Perfect fucking haunted predator trailer. No electricity, kerosene lanterns, wood burning stove, gas, shit. No electricity, no running water. He takes her alone, just him and her, out to this trailer, gives her this tea, and starts telling her, the reason all of this happened to you is because my wife died, and I've been waiting for her to come back into reality so that me and Jessica can have a family again. And it was revealed to me when you came to me that you're my wife. This is kind of the simple version. And that you are the sacrificial lamb, like you said, because you're stepping aside and letting her spirit inhabit your body. And she was like, she told me sitting at the table after getting out of the mental hospital, she said, Joe, I thought he's going to kill me. This is a crazy person who is going to kill me, and nobody in the church is going to believe what is going on right now. And for real, I was saying to her, you can't believe the magic deception I was under, even though, I was fighting it. Like, I you just can't understand it until you're under it. Former true believer Christians and shit like that, you know what I mean. There is a energetic ether vril power, magic power. They tap into the vril power too. Of course, it's nature. The dark, whatever, Dark Song, the movie about Aleister Crowley's month-long ritual of contacting the dead, starts with what? Take this mushroom. Take this mushroom. Take this mushroom. Right? And this is what she told me. She said, Joe, he said this to me. He said, I have been trying to kill Joe for years because he was in the way of me having a wife. Joe's wife, could have been you, could have been the vessel for my wife's spirit. But Joe was in the way because he's the great Satan. And she she said, I thought, oh no, poor Joe. And no lie, Kristen truly knows nothing about the history of my life. He said, Joe, he ran off like 5 different times. He planned to kill you. And it's supernatural. She was still using that language. Angels were protecting you. She said, Joe, he said he poisoned you with a lethal amount of poison once. It was like flash in my mind, me waking up in the middle of the night and puking all night when he lived with me. And then he told me, this is the verification confirmation of and why I was speaking so confidently in my video about later. She said, Joe, he said to me, I brought Joe out on the boat 20 miles offshore and was going to throw him in the ocean like Jonah and say, oh, if they're protecting you, then you'll live. He said, the angels with Joe stopped me and almost killed me. I didn't even know what was happening. And here is someone completely oblivious that I ever went fishing with Glenn out 20 miles off the ocean. She didn't even know that. It was an absolute confirmation. I didn't know her when I lived in Florida. When I fished, it was 4 years before that. 3.5 years before I ever met her. And she went on to say that he literally took me out to like an altar with a chicken upside down with its throat cut and said, this is magic to kill Joe, his family, and his children. Because they're a whole line of Satans. And I am sitting across the table like, yeah, this is what I really need. After everything that's happened, I need this weirdness. Where does it begin? Where does it end? Like this was the beginning. And it was she went on with this whole story about how he thought his wife's spirit was going from person to person, trying to find like a home because she loved him so much. And I'll tell you later, maybe next when I pick this up, I'll tell you like the maybe fourth or fifth or so, maybe sixth ritual I met with his wife. And it was like through like an energy screen because the power, because she had died so long ago and there was so much power against me and her. Like this was, like Maria said, this is the best you can do, but you can see her, and I could see her and hear her, and she's very beautiful. Hail to you, Renee. Anyway, I hope that we're all living and learning, and I'm wishing the best of luck to each and every listener. May Lucifer, may Maria Orsic herself reach out her beautiful left hand and touch you